Welcome, my name is Catherine and I'm from Paper and Pencil Gamer, and today I'm going to show you how to make some really cool mazes using the Standard and Shaped Mazes 2D from Puzzle Maker Pro and PowerPoint. It's really easy. Let me show you a couple that I have created just today. Here's one, here's the template, and this I created right here on PowerPoint. Here's another one. I know, it's really cool. And not just squares or rectangles. Here we go. And then here we are. So the first thing you have to decide is what size book or what size mazes do you want? Well, I really like 8.5 by 8.5 inch books, and those are the kinds that Paper and Pencil Gamer creates for Amazon. And I like to make them about 7 by 7 inches. And I like to create the puzzle 7 by 7 because it sits really nicely in my 8.5 by 8.5 inch book. And that is actually what we're looking at right here. This is my template, 7 by 7. This is not what I'm going to use to create my book. This is just to create my templates. Let me show you how easy it is. We're going to go into Insert, Shapes, and let's just make a shape. So I'm just going to drag to what I want it to be. Now for these, I like to make my shape fill black and my shape outline no outline. But that's kind of boring, right? So let's right click, copy, right click, paste. And I know that you've seen these before. I really know that you've seen these kind before. So I'm just gonna do that. And I'm going to insert another box, or I could just copy and paste. All right, we're gonna make that black. Okay, copy, paste, and let's do this. So what's going to happen right now is in the program, we get to choose where we want to start the maze and where we want to end the maze. So for this one, I would start on the left and end through the right. So that means the maze will have to go through this little tunnel here. And we can put this tunnel any way we like. We can, let's see, put it about the center here. And what I like is you never know what's going to happen when you create your mazes. Let's just pull this down just a little bit. I don't know, that looks pretty good. So what do we do next? Well, we're going to click and highlight everything, right click, cut, right click, paste as an image. Now we're ready to save this image. We're going to right click, save picture as. Now you see I have my other pictures in here. We're just going to call this picture number 5, so I'm going to save it. And it'll take a second. All right, now we're going to open our Puzzle Maker Pro. When you open it, the mazes, so I have quite a few. I really like this product. So I'm just going to click on Mazes Complete. And this is what you're going to get. Now let's look at some things in the program. First of all, the first thing you're going to see is rows and columns. So I can change the rows and columns. Now when you do that, if you want to see what it looks like, you have to come all the way down here to Next Preview. Okay, so it makes more rows and columns, and you can make as many as you like. So let's put 30 in here. Okay, whatever you like. Let's say you want, something like this. Okay, or maybe you want where the rows are 75. Okay, it's totally up to you, and you may have to experiment a little bit also. But with mine are rectangular. So for kids, I kind of like 30 by 30. So that's what we're going to use right now. The next thing is the solution complexity. If we want to make the solution even more complex, ooh, look at that. Or less complex, let's pull it down, preview, totally up to you. And it really depends on the person that you're creating the mazes for. So if you're creating it for a younger person, you want them a little easy, but I like to put mine about right in the middle. Next we look at door size. Door size, let me just make it really small. So now you see, ooh, very small. Maybe you like this. Maybe this is something you like to do. I like to have my door sizes nice and large. Now let's look at the wall thickness. So if I make it really, really small, it's not very thick. And for KDP, I like to have it rather thick so it prints really nicely. So, but it totally, again, it's up to you. So let's make it a little bit thicker. Okay, you can randomize it and you'll get something like this, but for my brain, I don't like that. Now the solution line thickness, you can make it really thick and it covers, you know, the whole space. I don't really like that because when I make the solution black, it's kind of hard to see. I like to make it so that it's thick, but it doesn't cover the whole corridor. Of course, it's up to you. Now we've done the drawing style, let's go to colors. So what does canvas mean? Well, let me change it to yellow, and next preview, it makes the outside yellow. I usually just leave it white. And this is something you can play with. Now the floor is actually the background. So if you want a different color for your background, you can have it transparent. I just keep it white. The walls, let me do next preview. You notice I do next preview every time I want to see what I have. The solution path is up to you, but I like to keep it black. You can also do a dashed path, but for me, I think that's a little hard to see, so I don't like to do that. The next thing is the enter and exit, the start and end. So we have start up the left and end at the bottom. Let's say I want to start here on the bottom left. So I right click, set start point, and when I do that, ooh, there's my start and there's my end. I can change my end point. So let's say I want it up here on the right. So I'm going to right click, set end point, and next preview. There's some other options we have that's really cool. So I'm going to right click. We have unset points, so it unsets them. We can do random points. So let's see what that looks like. So just random places in your maze, it'll start and end. Let's do right click again, and we have longest path. And let's start previewing. It will find the longest path, and you'll notice where the enter and exits are. I find sometimes that when I like the longest path, but sometimes it's hard to see where you're going to start and you're going to end. You can have a start and end open passage. So you'll notice that the end opens and the start has opened. So got another one. But once again, it can be kind of hard to find. Okay. And then the start and end, the size of the S and the E. So we can make it really large. But the only problem with that is you'll notice it doesn't fit quite in our corridor. So let's bring it down a little bit. Okay, we can also change the font. We're going to look at that here in a second. So I guess that's okay. Now here is what we're looking for. So now I've gone through most of the basics. We're going to go up here to use mask. I'm going to click use mask. Then I'm going to set the mask. What we're going to do now, you can change your columns, but I recommend you just leaving those alone. We're going to select the file. We're going to select what we just did, and we're going to open it. There's a couple things you can do. You can make it so that you can see the background, but for these it's kind of cool not to see the background. And what else is nice is you can edit this. So if I want this to be part of my maze, I just click on it. If I do not want it part of my maze, I unclick on it. So it's 3 by 3. That's pretty cool. So we're going to click use mask. Now, if I change these, I can change these now, but what's going to happen is that the mask then changes. So you might have to go through and click and unclick stuff. So you want to make sure that your columns and your rows are what you want from the start. Okay? And by the way, you can start clicking out here, but that kind of creates a mess. So I'm just going to unclick. You can also save it as a preset, call it something, choose background color. I've tried transparent, but I don't know, it doesn't seem to come out transparent, but this is perfect. You could choose another color, but for KDP, we want everything black and white. So we're going to click use mask. And here it is. That's it. Yeah. So right now we have it set where it's the longest path. I'm going to right click up here on the top. I'm going to start it here. I'm going to right click on the bottom. I'm going to end it here, and let's see what we get. Cool. Now you just created a maze from that picture here on the left that we created in PowerPoint. That's as easy as it gets. Let me show you how you can make lots of these. So we have use mask. Another thing is print mask background. What that does is it pulls up the background, but we can't see it, remember, because we covered it pretty much. But I'll show you here in a minute. We're not going to use the grid. So let's say we are going to make a book and we want 100 of these. So we're just going to type 100. Now the output settings is really important. First of all, I'm from the US. I like everything in inches. Pixels confuse me. I have to Google it, so I don't do that. So inches. So I want it 7. So this is the longest side, but since mine is square, it's going to be 7 by 7. 300 DPI is perfect for KDP. And then transparent PNG, once again, I'm not really sure how that's working. Now this goes right to my file place, so let me show you how I do that. Here's my file. I'm going to right click, copy, okay. Then I'm going to right click, paste, and then we're going to title this something. So this I think is my 5th one, so I'm just going to call it 5A. I do 5A, I get 100. Then I go back and I tell it to do 100 again, and I don't change my project. It's just going to overwrite the 100 I have in there. So you're going to have to change your project every time. And that's pretty much it. So we are going to quantity, and we're going to go way down here on the left, and we're going to start to create. Now it says preview rendering, and it's creating my puzzles. And it only takes a couple minutes, but it depends on how intricate your puzzles are, how long it'll take. But it really, you know, to make 100 of these, oh, but it's already done. We created 100. So I'm going to say, okay. So let's go in and see what those look like. So I called this 5A. And here are all my puzzles. And then here are all of my solutions. And really, everyone, that's really as easy as it gets. I've done, let me minimize this. So I've done a circle. Circles are okay, start and finish, but sometimes it kind of goes right through the center. I've also done ones that are frames. Let's do a frame. We could do it really quick because it's really easy. So I'm going to make a large, you know what? Let's try something different. Let's try a circle. I just decided we're going to do a circle. So here's my circle. I want to make sure that it's a nice circle and not an ellipse or something. So 7 by 7. All right. We're going to make it black and a white background. Now, what I'm going to do is I want the center blank because maybe I want to put something in the center when I'm making my book. Maybe I want to put a quote in the center. Maybe I want to put a picture in the center. No, for this one, I want it white because anything that's white will not show up as part of your maze. Okay. Now, if I choose the top as my start and my bottom as the exit, what's going to happen is it might go to the left and it may go to the right. And that's fine. For some students or people or books or whatever, you might want that to do that. But I want it to start and stop in a certain place. So I'm just going to make just a little white guy here. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have it start here and end here. So that means it has to go through the whole maze to get there. So first I want to make sure that this is right in the center. All right. So once again, we're going to highlight everything, right click, cut, right click, paste, right click, say picture as. Now this is going to be number 6. Oh, I thought it was 7, but number 6. We're going to open our creator again. I'm just going to leave it as 30 by 30. We're going to set mask. We're going to select the file. And here we are. One thing to remember is, well, 30 by 30, we're going to have these little kind of dangling pieces. But what's kind of cool, now I teach math, and the more squares you have, the nicer of a circle you're going to have. But also, it's going to have more twists and turns in it. So you really have to be careful about, you really have to think about your audience. okay? And I think this is okay, but maybe let's take some of this out. And it looks like it didn't do my centerpiece here, right? So we're gonna just go like this. Okay, so we're gonna have, goodness, we're gonna have a start and an exit. We could have it over a little bit. So let's just do this. So now I have one strip here, okay? And I don't know, we could, I mean, you can add or subtract squares as you like, but I'm gonna keep it like this. So we're gonna use the mask. And now I'm gonna right click. I'm gonna do it right here. Right click, start, right click, end. And there we go. There's our circle. You could put an image in the center or whatever you like. Let's make 100 of them. Now, output settings, we need to change it because if I had left it, it would overwrite, yep, the ones I just did. So I'm gonna go back here. Let's go to drawing style. Okay, so let's say that you want the walls thicker. Okay, maybe you want the walls thinner. You know, this is the time to make your decision. Okay, I like mine a little thicker. The solution line. Okay, you want it thick so it takes up the whole corridor, or you want it really thin. But I think that's kind of hard because it kind of looks like your wall. So that looks pretty good. Maybe a little less. Okay. And then solution complexity. You want to make it really hard. Oh my goodness. Or you want to make it a little bit easier for the younger people. Okay. I'm going to keep mine about the center here. All right. Next, we're going to do 100. We have our output setting at 6 and create. And as we're here, it's just going to take a minute. Once again, it depends on the complexity. It says it's not responding. It is responding because it's creating our puzzles. So it's just going to take a little bit of time here. Now, you can imagine how many different types of puzzles you can create in a puzzle book, right? Everyone likes an activity book that has different stuff in it, not everything the same. So we're going to say, okay, let's see what it looks like. So let's see what it looks like. I'm going to pull up my folder. Here we are. And we're number 6. Oops, I pressed the solutions, but here's our solutions. Okay, and then let's look at the puzzles. All right, and that's it. That's really all I wanted to show you today. Hopefully you learned a lot. Hopefully you have hundreds and tons and millions, I don't know, of ideas. If you want to do an 8.5 by 11, then you're just going to change this. So you're going to have, so your fixed grid, you're going to change the rows to, 50 or 60, and then change the columns to, I don't know, 20 or 30. It's going to take a little time for you to kind of juggle it to get it perfect. But that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed the video. Okay, and come back again. I will have a link for this product that I'm using down below. Thanks for watching.